They say pressure reveals true character, and at Silverstone, Oscar Piastri's mask might have just slipped. From leading the charge with clinical precision to triggering one of the most puzzling controversies of the season, Piastri's Grand Prix turned from domination to disarray in a matter of moments. It wasn't just a strange race, it was a full-blown mystery unfolding in real time. But what really sent shockwaves through the paddock wasn't just his driving, it was what came after. A post-penalty radio message so unexpected, so audacious, that it's left the entire Formula One world asking, has the pressure of a title fight started to unravel the calm Aussie we thought we knew? Let's take a step back. Oscar Piastri was hit with a 10-second penalty for how he handled the safety car restart, a call that clearly didn't sit well with him, but in the grand scheme of things, it could have been a far harsher outcome. Still, there's a more pressing concern emerging. Is Piastri starting to feel the heat, especially now, with Lando Norris putting together an electrifying run of form that's turning heads across the paddock? Momentum is swinging firmly in Lando's favour, and Oscar may be struggling to keep pace. Then came Silverstone, with its classic dose of British unpredictability. The track started wet, got drenched mid-race, and dried up before the checkered flag. Tyres became a gamble, grip came and went without warning, and chaos reigned. Right in the heart of it, that dramatic lap 18 restart that turned everything on its head. Hadjar ploughed into Antonelli after misjudging the spray in the rain. It was chaos. But up at the front, things got even more dramatic. Piastri, who had been calmly controlling the race, suddenly pulled a stunt that stunned everyone. As soon as the safety car lights went out, he floored it, then slammed on the brakes. Hard. So hard that Verstappen nearly rear-ended him. That sudden jolt threw Max off completely, and not long after he lost control and spun. Was the spin entirely Oscar's fault? Probably not, but that unexpected move definitely rattled the four-time world champion. And the FIA, they weren't about to ignore it. Their decision, a 10-second time penalty for Piastri. With Norris closing in fast, the penalty effectively ended Oscar's shot at the win. He slipped back and had to settle for second, again. But just when things seemed to be winding down, Piastri dropped a bombshell over team radio. Right after switching to slicks and serving his penalty during the final pit stop, he sent a message that left everyone stunned. I don't think the penalty before was very fair. I mean, I know it's a big question, but if you don't think it was fair either, I think we should swap back and race. Let's really break this down. Piastri actually suggested that McLaren consider giving him the position back because he felt the 10-second penalty was unjust. That's a bold ask, especially mid-race. The facts were pretty straightforward. He braked aggressively during a safety car restart, something that's strictly prohibited. It's not a grey area, it's one of the golden rules. The stewards acted accordingly, and to be fair, they could have hit him with something far worse. A stop and go would have torpedoed his race completely. So in comparison, a time penalty was almost lenient. But for Piastri to radio in and even hint at reclaiming the lead, that turned heads. In a sport where accountability and discipline matter just as much as raw speed, that moment painted Oscar as someone not quite ready to swallow tough calls, no matter how competitive or unjust he felt it was. With just a handful of laps remaining, Norris was leading his home race, driving for a British team at the British Grand Prix, a win he's dreamt about for years. And Oscar? He was asking to swap positions over a penalty that was clearly outlined in the rulebook. Formula One doesn't operate on sympathy. You don't get a do-over just because you think you were hard done by. But Oscar, he gave it a shot, and it didn't land well. Post-race, his frustration was boiling over. He insisted that he had driven the same way under the safety car as he had on the previous laps, but data tells a different story. Telemetry doesn't lie. From 220 down to 50 kilometers per hour, that's a drastic drop. The FIA took notice, slapped him with the 10-second penalty, and added 2 penalty points to his super license. But Silverstone exposed something new, a sign that maybe, just maybe, the stress is starting to show. With only an 8-point lead in the standings and Norris breathing down his neck, there's zero room for another misstep, on track or politically. And when the press asked him about the incident, Oscar didn't hold back the sarcasm. I'm not gonna say much. I'll get myself in trouble. Apparently, you're not allowed to brake behind the safety car anymore. I did it before for 5 laps. Heck with it. The rules, however, are crystal clear. Article 55.15 of the FIA sporting regulations spells it out plainly. After the safety car lights go out, no erratic braking, no sudden maneuvers that could put other drivers at risk. Oscar's actions, they crossed that line. The penalty wasn't a surprise. It was exactly what the regulations demanded. So now the spotlight shifts to McLaren. What's next for this duo? The battle is no longer about beating Red Bull, because let's be honest, Verstappen's RB21 looks more like it's fighting to stay in the top 5 than chasing wins. Ferrari looked quick at Silverstone Silverstone and could pose a real threat. But the real war? It's unfolding inside the McLaren garage. That MCL39 is a weapon. It doesn't care if it's raining, drying, or soaking wet. It just delivers. And with two drivers pushing it to the edge, there's only one question that matters. Who's leading the charge? If Silverstone taught us anything, it's that this is going to get spicy. Norris has been on fire since that slip-up in Montreal. He's rebounded with back-to-back wins. Meanwhile, Piastri hasn't been able to keep up. Not in qualifying, not in race pace, not even in the kind of close duels where he used to shine. The tide has turned. It's proof that the MCL39 is a championship contender, and now it's about who can handle the pressure better. Let's not forget, just a year ago, Norris was being called out for buckling in big moments. Missed chances, late mistakes, mental lapses under pressure. He was called talented, but not ready. Now, he looks sharp, composed, and ironically, it might be Piastri's emergence that pushed him to this level. There's no harder fight in F1 than beating your teammate. You're working with the same tools, same engineers, same strategy. It comes down to who performs better on the day. This title fight? It's just getting warmed up. McLaren's job is simple. Don't interfere. Let them go toe-to-toe. No team orders, no politics, just racing. What we saw at Silverstone, that's exactly how it should be. Maybe Oscar had flashbacks to Hungary last year, when strategy cost him a shot at glory. Maybe he thought this was another chance McLaren should give him to make it right. But this wasn't Hungary. McLaren got the call spot on this time. While others gambled early, Leclerc, Russell, Hadjar, McLaren played it cool. They waited for the right moment, made the right call, and put Norris in the perfect spot. He capitalised, and that was that. So now what? Well, things are about to get even more intense. With Spa and Hungary coming up and just a few points separating them, the battle for control is wide open. If one of them wins both, that could tilt the entire season, but danger is lurking just under the surface. We've seen how quickly things can fall apart between teammates. Mercedes 2016, anyone? One clash, one misjudgment, and everything can explode. McLaren must avoid that at all costs. But let's be honest, it's starting to feel like history could repeat itself. Piastri's bringing fire and frustration into the next race. That kind of emotion. It can fuel brilliance or disaster. Motivated drivers win titles. Emotional ones sometimes crash out of them. Was Oscar right to be that frustrated? Did he actually have a case that the penalty was unfair? Or was that just frustration boiling over when he couldn't control the moment? Drop your thoughts below. Until next time, goodbye for now.